Hello and welcome guys, my name is GuruPathik and today I'm going to be showing you 3 replays where I'm actually going to be going over how I've lost the Safelane in my games, and hopefully this will give you a glimpse into how punishing the 5.5k MMR bracket is in terms of punishing mistakes. So you can see here, like as I talked about in my basics of the Safelane Trilane video, I'm getting out here extremely early because I want to spot the ward. And, you know, I see OD kind of running down here. Something kind of special to mention about this game is I'm playing Jug, and there's a Witch Doctor who's supporting me. So this isn't technically a tri-lane, but it's a pretty good dual lane, and I think a lot of the principles from the tri-lane kind of apply as well. But I'll be playing against an OD off lane, which is a little unusual. But this OD is going to be played by Wagamama. And if you want to see a replay of this game from his stream's perspective, I'll have a link to that at the bottom of the video for you to check out. But he basically dumpsters on us this lane, and I'm going to talk about why. I don't think it was particularly good play on his part. I think he actually made a couple of mistakes, but I think because we mismanaged our safe lane and didn't do the right things, we ended up losing this lane. So we're just going to talk about that. So here you can see I'm pinging. I'm like, here's where the ward is. Here's where I think it is. And you can see I'm just a little bit off, right? I kind of want him to drop the sentry right here, somewhere in this area, because it's somewhere in here. And like, Witch Doctor opened up with a really nice item set. He's got observers and sentries, as well as a lot of regen. So like, he's going to try to deward it. And here, this is kind of where our errors start, which is, you know, we have a little bit of miscommunication about what we're doing. This Witch Doctor is trying to deward, but I'm up here because I want to fix the creep equilibrium from the block. And I want him to be blocking, but he's not blocking the wave, right? Our creep wave is essentially unblocked, so it moves at full speed. But what's Wagamama been doing this whole time, right? He's been blocking his creep wave. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to block it such that the range creep goes first, so that the wave pushes into him. And what I'm doing by standing here is I'm here to prevent that, right? What I do is I'm essentially waiting to see, is the range creep the first creep going? And when I see that it's not, then I return to block my own wave. But unfortunately, because we didn't block this wave, the creep equilibrium meets here. And this may not look like a huge problem, but it actually is, because there's no way for this Witch Doctor to get on top of this OD without pulling creep aggro, right? Maybe if he comes around here, he might be able to, but again, because we missed the D ward on this ward, the OD is fully aware of what's going on in terms of this Witch Doctor rotating over. So he's probably not going to be able to get the jump on OD such that he gets that one extra auto attack that the OD is not able to respond to. And that's a big deal. And you can see here, I get kind of mad at him because he's pulling creep aggro. And like, what he thinks is that, you know, the lane is too far pushed, so we can't recover it. And that's not entirely true. So what he ends up doing is he goes to pull. And I think this is a big mistake. Like, if I were him in this situation, I would be sitting in lane helping me deny. And what I want you to watch here is how unusual my last hitting pattern is in the opening of the wave. Because like 5k players care about different things than 3, 2, and 4k players. Like, why am I'm basically going to be auto-denying these creeps as soon as they become available, and I'm not that worried about last hitting, right? Auto-deny, like he ends up getting this last hit, so he sneaks it in. But auto-deny, I'm taking harass to auto-deny. And the point of it is I'm trying to fix the creep equilibrium such that the wave pushes into me so that I can return the equilibrium here, which allows my support to rotate over and actually harass the OD, right? We're a minute into the game. And because essentially of a bad block, the OD is level 2, right? These mistakes, they add up. They're a big difference. And here, like, we end up getting a little aggro on the OD. I don't know why I didn't cask there. Probably didn't think we could get the kill. It doesn't matter if we get the kill. It's probably worth harassing him. But here, I get a nice Blade Fury because Wagamama walks into position, basically makes a mistake. And we end up getting first blood off of it. And so, despite our mistakes, like, this lane is recoverable by this point, but it's not going well, I would say. You know, a lot of times as an offlaner, it's okay to trade experience for deaths, but sometimes it's not the best. And here you can see I'm trying to repair the aggro while getting farm. I kind of missed this last hit. I should have walked up and hit it. Unfortunately, because we killed Wagamama, he just bought a TP and just TP'd back into lane in his full HP and mana. And, you know, this is like one of those things about the off lane and the safe lane in general, is sometimes it's better to not kill the offlaner. Like, if it's first blood, I think you take it no matter what. But when you kill them, they will instantly TP back to your lane and show up and try to kill you or play aggro on you because they have full HP and mana and you don't have the time to regen. Whereas if we had gotten him to like a quarter HP or gone on him that first time, he would have been forced to sit back, wait for his Tango's regen, because all he has is Tango's regen, right? He bought a salve when he came out. So that's like smart on his part because he doesn't want to get out regened. But he only had Tangos earlier. Like, he would have had to sit at his tower for 30 seconds. Gives me a little time to regen up myself, and then we can play aggro again. But unfortunately, like, my HP and mana pool is too low to actually deal with him. Because OD is a wicked sick hero, I actually have no mana or intelligence. I am so stupid. And I think that, like, encapsulates this video, is I'm so stupid. Can't do a Trilane properly. But here's what's happening, and this is like actually pretty good play by Waga, even though he's dying. And I'm going to talk about why. And a lot of it has to do with creep equilibrium. So, like, the wave is relatively balanced here. Sorry, you got like a weird replay bug. Whatever, it happens. It'll go away in a second. But you can see the equilibrium is fairly balanced right here. So it ends up being okay, but we pull into tower range. And what this is mostly a mistake on my part. It's pulling aggro. That's kind of the issue here. And so now we've created a situation where our wave is pushing. And so when we go to try to kill this OD, right, it doesn't matter that he played aggressive and tried to get a kill there, because the wave is pushing and it's irreparable. Like, it's not fixable at this point, right? This is an unfixable situation in terms of static farming. There's too many of my creeps to where if I even auto attack denied the instant they became available, which was 50% HP, like, there's no way for me to recover the lane, which means that we need to be pulling. And so this Witch Doctor, like, yeah, he's got low HP, he's retreating to base, that's okay. Like, he should pull before he leaves, kind of thing, as if there is a double stack. If there's only a single stack, then I think it's okay for him to leave. But Wagamama essentially trades a bunch of harass there for a bunch of farm under his tower, right? Again, TPing back to lane. His score looks terrible, right? But what's good about this lane is that he is level 3. He has eaten through all of my regen. Like, I'm pretty much out of regen, and he's got a matchup advantage against me, which is that OD is a better hero against Jug, like, because he plays on this weak mana pool, you know, the 13 mana boy from Puppy and those kinds of things. And what ends up happening is that OD ends up farming the off lane because I can't stand against a high-leveled OD by myself. And so the Witch Doctor is essentially tied to that lane for me to be able to farm in this lane. And, you know, all of these factors, like, I'm just going to speed the game up and you'll basically see what happens. But, you know, this is 4x. But all of these factors come back to we didn't block our wave. Right? You see, like, I'm doing weird carry stuff. I'm going to pick up the rune, I come back, you know, more Blade Fury, scared of him, can't do anything. Like, he's playing hyper aggro against us. Ward never got dewarded. He gets a double kill in the off lane. And then the rest of the game, I basically spend it jungling. And then the Witch Doctor comes to the bottom lane to soak experience, and they've got an off lane OD who's essentially a safe laner. And this guy ends up being a huge problem for us. We end up losing this game. But, like, 5.5k. We didn't block our safe lane, so it met in a bad position. Wagamama took advantage of it, punished us, we lost this game. Right? That is how punishing the 5.5k bracket is. And, you know, people say, like, you know, I make these mistakes, and that doesn't seem like a huge mistake when I watch these replays, but when you watch a higher level game and you see a mistake like that, it's extremely punishing. Next replay we're going to check out is this replay of me playing Tiny. And this is actually a Trilane situation. So this makes a little bit more sense in terms of referencing my basics of the Safelane Trilane video. But what we're going to be going up against is kind of a similar situation. I'm playing Tiny this game. and we're gonna have a Safelane Trilane of Tiny, Earthshaker, and Shadow Demon, which is a pretty good lane. And you can see I get out here early, and we'll go back and we'll watch this. But I get my items, which are pretty regen heavy, as well as a mango, ringer protection. I'm trying to build a Basilius, maybe pick up a bottle or something. But the goal is to deny this ward. So I get out here, I click Timbersaw's items, I see that he has a ward, trying to prevent him from placing it. And instead of walking back now and going for the rune, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to stand here in lane. And the point of this is that Timbersaw is not a very good offlane, or not a very good rune contester, and I'm not expecting them to contest the rune with their lineup. So it actually makes more sense for me to just stay here and prevent the ward from happening, right? Timbersaw is going to kind of walk. He doesn't have a choice, right? I'm forcing him to basically say, hey, you can't put your ward down. Here I walk down a bit, he's waiting for me to leave. It's not happening. So this is good play by me in this situation, and we end up getting the rune top. And this game, I'm going to do the same thing that I did in that first video, which is I'm going to wait here for the range creep to fix the equilibrium, or to fix his block, essentially. But this game, I have a support who blocks for me, which is what I wanted in the other game. Right, and so he blocks the wave extremely well. Timbersaw also blocks the wave. He blocks it so the range creep leaves. But what happens? I stand here, range creep hits me 3 times, equilibrium is fixed. Right, this is how you stop that block as a safe laner. But what ends up happening is because the Shadow Demon blocked and our Earthshaker wasn't there, right? Our Earthshaker was out of position, right? Our Earthshaker was basically checking out mid, but he decided to walk through the river to try to get a fissure block. And what ends up happening because of that is the Timbersaw kind of sneakily sneaks in here and gets that ward down, and now the pull is blocked, right? We don't have sentries on our supports. Our supports played a little bit greedier this game, so now this pull is essentially blocked until we're allowed to deliver sentries, and that can be really difficult because the courier is essentially reserved for the mid lane hero, and so we're not going to get these sentries out until 3 or 4 minutes, which means that Earthshaker won't be able to pull, Shadow Demon won't be able to pull. Big issues. So now as a carry, right, I'm a pretty active carry and I'm looking to get that early kill, especially that early first blood. And so again, creep equilibrium, right? Focusing on creep equilibrium, but looking to get involved. He gets a nice disruption, and Timbersaw, fair and balanced hero. I literally thought that when I happened in this game. It was like we can't kill that. It sucks. But this is why Timbersaw is a more fitting offlaner, because he can do things like that. He has an escape as opposed to an undying, or the necrolytes that I said that I hated. But again, equilibrium, right? Let my supports do the zoning, which they're doing right now. Earthshaker's harassing the Timbersaw. We're keeping him level 1. Things are going fine. I'm farming. Farm. But let's go back 10 seconds. But what you'll see here is an extremely bad mistake by me, and that's that auto attack, that one right before there. Because what happens is the wave is now going to push, and there's nothing I can do to correct it. Right? I have 2 range creeps alive, and I have 4 of their creeps, but I cannot deny this range creep. And the reason I can't deny this range creep is that it's above 50% HP. So this wave will now push. We were in a perfect situation to have this Timbersaw zoned out completely, level 1 forever. But what happens? Noob carry pushes the wave, right? And here I'm panicking, right? Because I've made a huge error in the early game, and because of that, I've essentially wasted good support play by my Earthshaker and my Shadow Demon. Mostly my Shadow Demon. My Shadow Demon was a really good support this game. He tries to fix it by pulling, but it's really hard to fix it at this point. And tons of experience for this Timbersaw. Tons of experience to the Timbersaw. And the reason this matters so much is that he has a matchup advantage against me. Timbersaw is extremely good against strength heroes, and I am a strength hero, which means he's going to do a lot of damage. And so you can see here, I get really aggro on him. I'm trying to deny his farm, prevent him from doing anything. Ends up TPing a Rubik top, right? I'm not able to farm this wave up here because I had to play super aggro to try and deny experience. Like, this lane is not going according to plan. If I had just not messed up my equilibrium, I would be sitting up at the top rune, right? I would be sitting right here free farming. And Timbersaw would be level 1 and he would have nothing to do. But instead, I'm doing these weird dives, these weird like plays to try and keep the experience level, and then Timbersaw farms in the top lane. He's now level 3. And then here what we see is the fair and balanced hero, which is I can't do anything to catch him. I probably could have killed him there if I'd used my combo, used my mango, but it really kind of depends on Shadow Demon. But here again, trying to fix the creep equilibrium, Earthshaker's around, and maybe we're looking to get a kill. But unfortunately, we don't end up chaining our stuns here properly. And there's the problem, right? Timbersaw is level 3, which means he has, 1 in each of his spells, and you can see how much damage he just dealt to me. Like, literally took my HP from like 450 to 82. And that's the matchup advantage, like really showing its teeth in this game. And what ends up happening essentially is I can't afford to eat Whirling Death because otherwise I'll die. Like, he almost gets a kill on me. We end up killing him, but at this point, like, the damage is done. I would say that this off lane is completely lost, and it all came down to me making a scrub play, which is pushing the wave when my supports did a really nice job. Like, the first game with Wagamama, we didn't block. We lost the lane because of it. This game, I messed up creep equilibrium once fairly early on, and then this lane becomes extremely difficult because of it. So, just a little bit of a fast forward. But what ends up happening in this game is, my supports rotate because my Shadow Fiend's having a little bit of trouble mid with the Invoker, which was to be expected. Timbersaw has a bunch of levels. He gets hyper aggro on me. I can't deal with him. And when he hits level 6, he kills me. We're not able to kill him, or we do kill him here, so we do end up getting kills on him. But like, dying in the offlane isn't always the worst. You don't want to give up first blood, but sometimes it's okay to die. Here I go for the rune. Again, more experience for Timbersaw. And you can see how much damage he deals to me. Go back, show you how much damage I took from his combo. Oh, I guess I just harassed him. So I'm trying to get him like into kill range. I'm like prepping a kill on him. That's kind of why I'm harassing him there. But here I got my strength treads, and like, if we're looking at the scoreboard, right? Timbersaw is level 5 at this point, when he should have been level 1 forever. And like, I can combo him. This is like a really interesting situation in that Timbersaw is really good against Tiny, but Tiny is also very good against Timbersaw because the Timbersaw is low base HP, and you can see how much damage I'm taking from that Whirling Death. But what ends up happening here is he plays really aggro, he gets level 6, free kill on the Safelane. And so, like, we got a couple of kills on him early, and it may have looked like he's behind, but if we're looking at the scoreboard, right, even net worth, even levels. Right, this is a perfect situation for an offlaner, and I would say an extremely one offlane. If you make a mistake this blundering, this is like game losing in the offlane at 5.5k. So next game we're going to check out is me playing Anti-Mage. And again, this isn't necessarily a tri-lane situation. This is a dual lane situation, which it ends up being okay. Let's see, where is this game? Anti-Mage, Anti-Mage, Anti-Mage. There it is. So in this game, I'm an Anti-Mage, and the way the draft went down, it went down a little bit differently, which is the offlaner picked before I did. And so because of that, I was able to counterpick. So it's an offlane Abaddon, and I counterpick with Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage is pretty good against Abaddon, mostly because you can burn all of his mana, and you like to build regen items. So, and he's also an agility hero, so you can afford to go like a poor man's shield or something to fight him. But you can see, start of the game, early items, I get a lot of regen. I'm going to build that poor man's shield almost for sure. And AA is also down here. So we do have a tri-lane, but it ends up getting dissolved pretty early on. And you'll kind of see why. But I get out to my lane really early, run into an Abaddon. we end up fighting. So Abaddon was a little bit slow to get out of his base. What does that mean? He doesn't get his ward down. AA drops a really nice ward, again a lane ward, so another Trilane situation. And I end up buying my Slipper of Agility here. Now, the offlaner ends up leaving, and because we have a ward here, so I can kind of afford to leave as well. But most of the time, if you don't have a ward there, you kind of just want to sit here. Because you can kind of secure the rune without it. And so here, I'm going to, again, fix the equilibrium, I think, while one of my supports blocks. Oh, I ask Ogre too. Yeah, so here I ask Ogre to stand such that if the range creep is the one that gets down the lane first, he will block it, and then here I'm going to block the wave myself. So it doesn't necessarily matter, it's just kind of like a positioning thing. And, you know, like the carry doesn't have to do... Again, the roles are interchangeable in a tri-lane, but somebody has to do it. He ends up blocking, like he ends up fixing the equilibrium. Again, we've got creeps meeting in a good position, so it allows the Ogre to be in a good position. And so here, no one's here. So, where's Abaddon, right? Like, was he super scared off? Like, Ogre's like, well, I don't know where he is, right? But if we were paying attention, if we were doing what a safe lane tri-lane should be doing, which is checking the scoreboard, right? It's not at this point. I have to wait a bit. I think it's here. We'll see. Sneaky bugger's in the trees. That's where he is. There it is. If we're checking the scoreboard at a minute 33, we know he's in the trees. Which means that Ogre, instead of just standing here kind of like, well, I don't know what to do, right? I mean, typical Ogre. But you know, he should be walking around in these trees looking for the Abaddon, right? Because the Abaddon has cut a path through the trees. And his path through the trees is kind of like right here. Maybe you find it by going in here. Whatever it is, this is like very typical Abaddon play or offlane play sometimes, because a lot of what you're looking to do is get experience early on. And because I don't know where he is necessarily, I'm making it a high priority to make sure I get denies. Although there I missed that last hit. You know, AA is not here. Mostly because Abaddon's not here. He ends up going top and tries to make things happen there. That's fine. He's kind of playing that roaming role this game. And I end up like free farming for a little while. I don't really know what items to go because I'm expecting Abaddon to play really aggro on me. Again, I'm not checking the scoreboard. I don't know where he is. Like really weird opening to a game. I'm super confused, and there he pops out and I'm like, holy shit, it's a level 3 Abaddon, and now I have issues, right? Because Ogre left the lane thinking he was okay. He ends up going mid, he's doing other things, but unfortunately this whole time he's been leeching experience. And so now I've got to deal with this Abaddon in my lane. And I think the only reason that this lane kind of ends up going okay is I did get free farm for the first 3 minutes, and I was able to farm up sort of my items that allow me to fight him. But, you know, this guy ends up being a major pain. And I think if I didn't have a matchup advantage in this situation, we would have lost this tri-lane. But because I was able to pick after the offlaner, and I picked a hero that specifically countered the offlaner in lane, we end up kind of being okay. So here, I'm harassing him, basically baiting him to trade, so that, because the Ogre was like kind of rotating in, right? If we check out Ogre up here, right? Ogre's walking in the minimap. And so what I'm doing is I'm just getting him low as possible, trying to burn all of his mana so he has no shields, so that when the Ogre rotates in, it's a free kill for us, and you can see AA TP's in. Again, reassembling the tri-lane because the offlaner showed up, and we end up getting a kill here. Mostly on the fact, like, AA's TP may not seem like it was relevant there, but it's actually the reason we ended up getting the kill, because of the chilling touch. And so, as you can see from the scoreboard, like, I'm a level 5 Anti-Mage, I'm free farming, but this offlaner is level 4 at 4 minutes, which is really good. Usually 1 level a minute is kind of like what you're looking for your core roles. Sometimes it's a little bit better. But, again, here, because we kind of messed up the way we killed Abaddon, this is like a really small thing, but let's go back. How far do we have to go back? So, the creep equilibrium, if we're looking at it right now, is fairly balanced, right? Like, things are going okay from that front. But what ends up happening is we pull the creeps under the tower because of all the fighting that's happening, and so our creep equilibrium is messed up here. And it's messed up pretty significantly, right? There's nothing for us to do to stop this wave from pushing, right? Like, this is a really critical time for us to fix it, because I can deny this creep. But once this siege creep goes down, and then this creep, like, all of these creeps are fighting. And a lot of it's because we were right-clicking this hero as we were walking through a creep wave. You shouldn't do that. If you want to avoid messing with this creep equilibrium when you're playing aggro, you want to be clicking the ground, pretending like you're going to walk up and hit him, but instead you're just clicking the ground and you're not aggroing these creeps. And that is not what happened for us this game, right? Right here, you can see it. We're playing right click, and we wouldn't have gotten the kill if we weren't doing that. So it's just bad play on the Trilane's part. And what ends up happening because of that is that this Abaddon, even though he died, which sucks, like, it's kind of a big deal, just ends up coming back to the lane, and now he's got a lane pushing into his tower, which means that he gets a couple of last hits, you know, a little bit of farm, a lot of experience. And again, like, this doesn't end up mattering for my lane in this game because I have such a hard lane counter against the Abaddon. But what does end up happening is around minute 10, Abaddon shows up in the middle lane, pushes down that tower, shows up in the top lane, pushes down that tower. And so these mistakes end up costing us 2 towers in the mid game, when this hero could have been level 1 forever and I still could have free farmed. So I hope this kind of gives you a glimpse into how punishing playing in the 5.5k bracket is, and an appreciation of how good these players are and how hard it is to get better and improve as a Dota player. So thanks for watching, and yeah.